The Miami Marlins are not your typical sports team. They've been through just about every high and low you can think of before a team turns 30 years old. There are lots of fans that would kill for 2 world championships in the first 10 years of existence. But there's one year in particular with the Marlins that deserves its own story to be told for the lessons it teaches beyond just baseball. What's up, everyone? My name's Jacob, and I'm from the Fish Army. As you can probably suspect, I'm a lifelong Marlins fan, for better or for worse. And believe it or not, some of us do exist. So I'm teaming up with SRS today to bring you the most odd, crazy, and downright miserable seasons in recent baseball history through the eyes of somebody who watched it every single day. But in order to really understand just how miserable that 2012 Miami Marlins season really was, there is some background in order. For most of the Marlins' history prior to 2012, the franchise was in a state of limbo with the city of Miami. Playing at a stadium with more names than Star Wars has episodes, you might recognize this as the Miami Dolphins Stadium. Getting the Marlins their own place to call home was becoming a real difficult challenge. Even in 2003, when the team miraculously won the World Series almost by accident, they were 15th out of 16 teams in the National League as far as attendance goes. The only team below them? The Montreal Expos, thanks to the damage done by their former owner, Jeffrey Loria. Keep that name in the back of your mind. He's a guy everyone in the world loves for the most part. After the 2005 season, the pressure was on the people of South Florida to keep them in town by help paying for a potential new stadium. Options included Portland or Las Vegas if they felt like bailing out of Florida entirely. Or they could move up north a little bit to northern Broward County. Hey, that's where Kodak's from. Either way, in 2012, Marlins Park was set to open.
It's the newest jewel in South Florida. The price tag, $515 million. But if you build it, they will come.
Yay, taxes. To go with it, the first of way too many rebrands to embrace the city they call home. They also decided to pick up a couple new players too. And oh boy, they did bring some players to that team all right. Let's do a quick rundown of the talent this team did bring in. They brought in electrifying National League batting champion Jose Reyes with a brand new haircut, Mark Burley, who was the White Sox ace for the last 10 plus years, and the still current GOAT at the in-between-the-legs throw that's still going strong. One of the best relievers in baseball, Heath Bell, slid right on into the Marlins bullpen. These guys were not joining a scrub squad either. They were joining a core group led by Josh Johnson, who had been one of the best pitchers in baseball for the last 2 years, Hanley Ramirez, 3 years removed from finishing second in the MVP voting, and a young slugger coming into his own named Mike Stanton. Scratch that, Giancarlo Stanton. This was the same year as the Avengers movie, so maybe 2012 was the year of dream teams. All in all, this Marlins team was loaded. Before the season started, the expectations started to become championship or bust. The Marlins hype led to a cover story on Sports Illustrated dubbed Marlins Sanity. Funny. In the story, team president David Sampson said that the best case goal moving forward would include things like high payroll, competing in the NL East every year, winning at least one World Series. He also said that the worst case would be losing 90 games, drawing 1.3 million fans, and people needing umbrellas if Marlins Park roof was leaking. Well, guess what? It took only about 2 years for basically all of that to at least kind of come true. The 2012 Marlins finished with a nice record of 69-93. The 2013 team had just a little over 1.5 million fans in attendance, and the roof started to leak by May of the first season, even though umbrellas didn't ever become a requirement for fans on game day.
What?
Oh my goodness. How could this have possibly happened? Didn't we just spend all this time talking about how the Marlins had reloaded into a force poised to take over baseball? What happened? Well, I'll tell you what happened. What happened was as soon as things started to go wrong for the team, the ownership and the baseball operations just kind of gave up on them. By the end of May, the team was 7 games above 500 and only a half game back in the NL East. Then what followed was an 8-18 June and a 10-16 July. And at the end of July, the team dealt Hanley Ramirez away to the Dodgers. The face of the Miami Marlins franchise for the past half-decade was moving on just months into this team's supposed improvement. Everything that was promised to be different turned out to be just the same. Now, don't get me wrong. Hanley was not playing well at the time of the trade, but the move was more symbolic. The Marlins were giving up. Again. What gives? What gives is this. Stanton had a monster year. albeit shortened by injury.
They called me Mr. Glass.
Reyes, Burley, and Johnson for the most part had respectable seasons, but almost no one else on the roster seemed to pull their weight. But you know what? That's not the end of the world. Plenty of great teams take a little bit before they come together. There's no need to press the panic button after just one season, even if it didn't go the way everybody had planned or hoped. There was hope that they could come back from their failures in 2012 and benefit from the fresh start in 2013, right?
Hold on, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was finished?
Nope. That hope died on November 19th, 2012. Remember how Reyes, Burley, and Johnson were good that year? Well, those three, plus catcher John Buck and utility man Emilio Bonifacio, were shipped off to the Toronto Blue Jays for guys who weren't as good.
Whoa! Wait 1 second!
It took less than a year for the Marlins to completely throw their fancy new team away. And what about all that buzz for the community? What about all those people who spent their hard-earned money on a new team and its new stadium?
I think I'd like my money back.
All of it was gone like a Thanos snap, just like that. Anybody who stuck around after Ozzie Guillen's infamous Fidel Castro comments were surely gone by now. And speaking of Fidel Castro, in a 2012 poll that took place right after that trade, the Cuban dictator was the most hated man among Miami baseball fans, for obvious reasons. Who was second, you may ask? Well, Jeffrey Loria, of course. The glamour of a brand new shiny stadium soon faded and attendance bottomed out in the years that followed. The team was losing and losing and losing some more. The relationship between the Marlins and the South Florida community was more damaged than ever, all under the supervision of Marlins owner Jeffrey Loria. We talked earlier in this video about how Loria used to own the Expos, and there's a reason the Expos don't exist anymore, and a big part of that is Jeffrey Loria. In fact, things got so bad in Montreal that Loria was basically forced into selling the team back to Major League Baseball. The league itself bought a team to try and save it from one man, and that same man went on to ruin a second team by overseeing them and giving up on its dream team in record time, crushing the team's relationship with the local market at the same time. All those empty seats make a lot of sense right now, don't they? And the sad thing is, they really didn't need to do this. The talent on this team was incredible. The list of guys that I haven't even mentioned is still really long. Guys like Anibal Sanchez, Donovan Solano, Brad Hand, AJ Ramos, Omar Infante, Logan Morrison, and Steve Cishek were all members of the 2012 Marlins, who went on to prove they still had potential in the tank. And that's not to mention future stars like Jose Fernandez and Christian Yelich waiting right behind them and would debut the following season. Add those guys with all of the talent we just gushed over, and this team would have really competed if given another chance to. But they were robbed of that after just one season where they really didn't have it all together. The fans knew they'd been robbed for a while, and there was nothing they could do to bring the team back and make things right.
Thanks to Jacob from the Fish Army for coming on. We really wanted a Marlins fan's perspective to help talk about what has to be one of the most perplexing teams in baseball history. Fast forward to the 2018 season. Jeffrey Loria finally sold the Marlins to a new ownership group, the face of which was Derek Jeter, and priority number one became righting the wrongs of the Loria era. In baseball and in business, the Marlins needed to restore their relationship with South Florida, and so far, they've made great strides in doing that. The new Marlins ownership is night and day compared to the previous one, and that's exactly what they had to be. Even though they chose to completely reboot the organization, that may have been exactly the move they had to make. And as if the year 2020 wasn't crazy enough, some hope returned to the city of Miami when the Marlins made the playoffs for the first time in 17 years, and won a playoff series along the way. They're clean of the sins the team committed in the past, and are creating a new identity. The sun is shining a bit brighter these days in Miami, and the fans will be there following every step of the way. The lesson here? Don't be the 2012 Marlins. Be patient. Build and maintain your relationships. Cherish those who stick with you through thick and thin. And when things start to go south, don't just immediately pack it in and quit on everyone around you, in baseball and in life.
I just feel proud for this group of guys. What we accomplished has been amazing. I remember a couple years ago in 2018, it wasn't easy. 2018, a losing season. Last year, we lost 100 games. But we came out this year with the hope that everything was gonna be better and we will start in the corner.